All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to I think it's our fourth, maybe fifth edition of the Facebook Live here at Florence One Schools. This evening, we have with us a large group of our colleagues here that work in Florence One to give us some information in all different areas of our district operations. We hope that these forums on Monday night are informative and you learn a little bit more about what's going on in our district. We have done a tremendous job in every operation, especially the ones you'll hear from this evening, and I think the credit goes out to everyone working for Florence One Schools, whether you're on the front lines on our bus or food service, or you're a teacher or an assistant helping, or one of our nurses that are volunteering somewhere in the school district or even at our local hospital. So we know we've been into this for a couple weeks, and we wanted to ensure that everyone has accurate information on what's going on and how our district is leading in this state during this pandemic. The first person this evening that we're going to introduce is Ms. Beth Holzbach. She's our district lead nurse. But before she gets started, I sort of want to address always those two questions about prom and graduation. There's no news. If you've watched the news today, the governor said he will make a decision this week about whether or not schools will reopen or remain closed. So we will wait for that decision from the governor this week in order to make some of our decisions. I think we'll talk a little bit about graduation later on when Mr. Hall speaks, but just be assured that if we have opportunities in some way, whatever room they give us and parameters, we're going to have some sort of ceremony for our seniors, and we're working on a couple plans that will be spoken a little bit about this evening, but we'll do our best to ensure that there is a proper recognition for our seniors as they move on. So with that said, Ms. Holzbach, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
She's been working, if you don't know Beth, and she's been working here in the district for how long?
Probably
5 years?
5 years, plus about 30.
And not only has she been working and helping our district during this, but she's also been volunteering at the local hospital to help and assist as well. And we're very pleased that she's part of the F1S team, and very pleased to have her leading our district as the lead nurse. So why don't you let our community know a little bit about what's going on, what you know, and what you can share with them.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Malley. So first of all, as people are aware, the cases of COVID-19 or coronavirus are increasing in Florence County. That's not unexpected. We still probably have not reached our peak. We're a large employer in Florence County. Early on, we came up with a plan to instruct our employees about safety precautions and protective measures that they can take for themselves. We encourage our families and our students to do that as well, and to continue adding the social distancing in as well. Another measure we've added for our staff is the encouragement of those who are on the front lines. And we have several departments who unselfishly are still on the front lines serving our communities. We've encouraged them to wear masks and tried to help provide masks for those employees. One of the things that we are working with our employees, being a large employer, we are having employees who are diagnosed, and we're working through that with them, providing them with education. If they need to reach out to me, I'm very willing to speak with them, and have spoken to anyone who needs education regarding the virus or additional information of where to go for what. Sometimes the resources, even though we've put them out, I think, in very clearly defined manners, if you're not looking for it or don't think you need it at that moment, they can be a little bit tricky to find. So I'm available to provide that assistance as well.
And some of the questions that we're getting is, what if, how do I know how to be tested? What if I came in contact? I'm working in the district. Any guidance along those lines?
So DHEC guides us with that. If an employee tests positive and there's a work history that they can trace back 48 hours prior to the onset of the symptoms, they contact me, and that means day, night, weekends, whenever they need to reach out, and we contact any employee who would be a contact to that positive case and give them guidance on testing, monitoring from symptoms, quarantining, that type thing. Just because someone is a contact does not mean that they need to have a test. If they don't have symptoms present, they need to quarantine and monitor for symptoms.
Okay. And we've heard also sometimes this week that our schools haven't been cleaned. If in those cases, could you address?
I can. So if someone becomes ill at work, even if we don't know definitely that it may be coronavirus, we have to clean under strict guidelines of CDC and DHEC. And in several cases, that means me going in because I choose for my protection to wear a gown and mask, shoe covers, gloves, and I even wear goggles. One of the prime measures that I try to educate people about is do not touch your face. When you're out in public, don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. That's one of the prime ways to get a respiratory infection.
And so if members of our community, people that work in the Florence One schools, have any questions, they can't get on the website, can they call the school and talk to you?
They can. Okay. So they can call my office. I'm actually working on site, and my telephone number is 843-673-1158. My email is bholzback@fsd1.org. And my cell phone is also pretty public at this point. So if you reach out to any district employee, they can give it to you, and I'll be glad to make it public tonight if you would like for me to.
No, I don't think that's necessary, but I think they can call.
Okay, it's available.
Yeah, we just want to make sure, and Beth has really been available to any of our employees, anyone in our community that has questions. She's really been the face of the Florence One schools, and we're grateful to have her. People, I think, when they talk to you, feel very relieved and they get the information. We have a lot of information on our website. I know the district, anytime you have information, the district does a daily newsletter that goes out, and your information is always published there as well. But we appreciate the phone calls that you take, the social media that you tend to look at and try to put accurate information out there. So we just want to make sure that everyone understands the district isn't hiding anything. We are willing and going above and beyond what we need to do. And Beth has worked very closely with DHEC to make sure that we follow all the guidelines, all the processes, and all the procedures to ensure everyone's safe and has the right information.
Exactly. And thank you again for that. I do think sometimes people in this time of anxiety need to hear a voice, and I am really glad to talk with anyone who needs a voice to be able to present factual information and reassure people.
Well, we appreciate everything you do. I know I appreciate it, and we talk quite often during the course of the day. We do. And I'm sure I've heard anyone that has spoken to you feels reassured and has obtained some real good facts about what's true, what might be something. But, you know, like you said, in this time, people are anxious, people are worried, and that's understandable. And we're glad we have someone like you to help them. So I appreciate
Thank you, Dr. Malley.
Appreciate you being here tonight.
I appreciate being
no
here.
parting gift for you, but I appreciate you being here.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. So the next is Mr. Kyle Jones, another superstar in our district. You know, Kyle is our Chief Technology Officer, and working with his team has really put together what we thought was a short-term e-learning plan has become a virtual school district in a short period of time. So with each person this evening, I want to thank you and your team as well. If you could this evening, though, kind of give our community an understanding of how much we have done to try to not only make sure our students and our staff have access to the internet and their e-learning plans are working, but all the different ways to try to break down that gap of students not having the internet or having accessibility.
Sure thing. So when we started, we were around 95% connectivity with our student population, and we've kind of had a 4-phase approach to date. For 4 weeks, we mobilized our busing fleet, which has the unlimited data on each bus. And we tried to pick up the instructional time to and from school that was happening. And we were able to reposition those buses as our students were at home and put those in neighborhoods. Today was the first official day that we were able to kind of work out of the bus, if you will. And I'll tell you how we did that in just a few minutes. The next phase was to add external Wi-Fi access points to many of our school buildings, and we have those on our website with maps of each location that you can take a look at. Excellent coverage on that, so we welcome you to utilize that connectivity and look at those resources around the district. Third, we wanted to emphasize the Spectrum and AT&T free 60 days in-home offerings, and I'm pleased to announce that many of our families all across the district have taken advantage of those resources and now have high-speed internet inside the home that didn't before. And then one of our fourth phases and our latest phase was we've distributed MiFi devices to around 200 of our students to date. And we did that in about a three-phased approach as well. When we did our mock testing days, we surveyed our students around the district and identified those students. We then put a survey on our website about 2 weeks ago and had our parents and community members identify additional students that may have missed the first round. And then we had each individual principal make personal contact with those students, and we distributed those end of last week, and even a handful as early as today. So I'd like to report that I hope that we've closed the gap to less than 1% would be my goal. And we have done that very aggressively to achieve that and do just that, close the connectivity gap in Florence One schools and ensure that to the best of our abilities, we're able to maintain our instructional day and our continuity of services, and that our students across the board can complete their assignments.
Did you mention, I might have missed it, we offered people who had a hotspot on their phone, $50?
Correct. Yeah, I did leave that out. One last thing that we did for a duration before we got the MiFis, because they were on substantial global back order for quite a while. We had a $50 reimbursement offering for our parents that added the hotspot feature to their personal cell phone. And so I think we've really thought outside the box and explored every option that we felt like was an opportunity for our students to get connected.
Yeah, and we after we get through all this and get into the next school year, I think if we can continue to keep that gap at 1% or less, I think we've done far better than any school district across the country as far as getting access to our students in their homes. So I hope we continue that. How about if parents, again, have trouble with the Chromebook and need repairs or things like that? Can you just mention those?
Sure. So on our website, we have an eTech email address, and that is active throughout each workday. And we respond very quickly to any of those emails that come in. And then we're also swapping out Chromebooks if needed or making repairs at the 319 South Dargan Annex. And the hotline phone number for that is 843-673-1180. And I think you're going to find that the customer service there is phenomenal. And we try to make sure that your needs are handled very expediently.
Can you repeat that number, and then maybe we can post that if it's probably already posted?
843-673-1180.
I would like to thank you guys again for your, moving quickly, trying to make sure every student, every staff member has access, has technology at their hands, and no matter what we implemented, we kept pushing.
That's right.
It was just like a normal day for you and I, but we kept pushing no matter what we were trying to do.
I appreciate your support, and I can't say enough great things about our team. They've been in the trench working long hours and making it happen.
And, 2 years ago when we first came here, technology was a priority just to get this moving. It's amazing how it's taken such a large step forward across the nation of how important it really is for education and what we need to do. And we're glad that we were on the forefront of all those basic ideas, and your team was leading that. So we appreciate that. Keep it going. We don't know how long we're in this for, but we wanted to ensure this evening that everyone had that information about our technology, where they can get help. Again, if they don't, or they do need the internet, again, you can contact, information's on the website, contact that phone number that was just given, and we can work with them as well.
Correct.
To any one of those areas in which we can offer the internet into the home. So I
Reach
appreciate
out
it.
to your school principal. They've been very responsive as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Next up, Miss Lisa Spears joining us for our first time on live television, huh? Ms. Spears is our clinical supervisor for our school-based therapists. We have a school-based therapist in every single school. I don't think there's a school district, I would say South Carolina, but across this country that has one in a system at least our size. So we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate that you lead that wonderful group that work very hard. And, that group works hard today because the pandemic is here, but our students are still in need, just like they were before this started. And I don't think we've really missed any of those opportunities. So I was wondering if this evening you could kind of share with our community a couple things that you've been working on, not only, and then kind of what our school-based therapists have been doing during this time.
Sure. We are fortunate that we have school-based therapists who are very, very committed to our students, and we're grateful for the opportunity to serve our community. Some of the things that we have been doing, we are continuing to provide therapy for our students. We are using an electronic format for doing it, but if students were on our caseloads, we have reached out to the parents, gotten consent to continue with the therapy electronically, and we continue to have weekly sessions with our students, weekly therapy sessions. We also do check-ins. We realize that in COVID, in this environment, families are stressed. Parents are working and trying to work with their kids once they get home. Some of the basic needs, they're struggling to have those met. And we are there alongside of you, parents, talking with your teenagers who may not be as motivated as you would like for them to be to get their assignments finished. We are also doing reading with therapeutic reading with students so that they can discuss their feelings with their counselors. And we are doing electronic check-ins also with our students. So if there is a concern and we see it, we can call them or do an e-meeting with them just to make sure that, that they are okay. One of the other things that we're working on, and we've been very active, is responding to alerts. If a student is on a Chromebook and they type something that causes us to believe that they may that they may harm themselves, we call that family. We call the parents, we contact the student, we check in, we have a screening process that we can use, and we just check to make sure that everything is okay. We talk with the parents about safety planning, about next steps that they can take if there are any concerns. And I've talked to quite a few parents that have been very appreciative of us calling and providing this service for their students. One of the things that we are currently working on is a hotline that would allow us to have counselors available throughout the day so that if someone is feeling stressed, they can give us a call and a counselor would be available to talk with you in that moment. It's not a crisis line, it's not a suicide line. I can give you a number for that. But this is just a line that if someone needs someone to listen, they need to vent, maybe they're stressed out at the moment. This gives you an ear, someone to listen, someone to help you perhaps come up with strategies that may help, perhaps even some skill building. And so you may see the number up on 664-8170, and we hope to have that online by Friday or no later than Monday of next week. And this line would be available to parents, to staff, to students, and we are also collaborating with the special ed department, with our nurses, and our school counselors, so that if we need to refer information or pull in another resource, we can make those resources available for parents. And then finally, I'd just like to say something about NAMI. That's a great organization that we have partnered with, and they have provided resources for parents, help cards and information, things that you can do to help relieve the stress that this time may be causing for you. And there's a national parent helpline number, and I just want to make that available. That number is 1-855-427-2736, and we'll make sure that that's available to you. And they also offer some caregiver classes for parents who may have a child that has a mental illness. And they also offer some classes on talking to kids that may be struggling. And there is a class on April the 22nd at 12 noon, and we'll make that information available for you also. But again, we are working very hard and making sure that students who had therapists, that they know that those therapists are still available, still willing to work with them. And parents, if we've reached out to you, definitely give us a call back if you have questions or some concerns, and we're happy to help in any way that we can.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate as you begin to think about some new things about launching a hotline. We know people are stressed. We know our students still need our help, and I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and just continue to push what we can do to help all of our kids, even though we're not in school, but to continue to school. And so I'm sure we'll get that number out. I know it was on the screen, but we'll get that out to the public as well and post it anywhere and everywhere that we can. Again, we're very grateful that we have some great school-based therapists besides having one in every school. They continue to serve our students. We appreciate what you do every day to keep that moving as well. And thank you for coming this evening to share a little bit about, again, another part of the district operation that just continues on. It wasn't just about e-learning or just trying to get computers in kids' hands and get through. This was about how do we continue to provide all the services, and you gave us a great example this evening, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next we have, and as you see, as a speaker would go, they would then leave so we can continue our social distancing. By the end of this program, I will probably be by myself, and that's the whole important thing to this, but we will observe our social distancing from when we started to when we're going towards the end. Next we'll have Miss Michelle McBride. She's our Assistant Superintendent for Elementary, and she's going to give us an update on all the things happening in our elementary schools and in elementary curriculum.
Thank you, Dr. O'Malley. I would first like to say I want to commend our teachers, our instructional leaders, and our principals. This has been a difficult task for us to do an e-learning format, but they have done a fantastic job of keeping their instructional curriculum at the forefront of instruction. And part of that program is to make sure that we have our parents on board with this instructional practice. So last week we actively implemented our parent portal, and it's an e-learning format for our parents on the district's webpage. And this format contains all of our content area for ELA, math, science, and social studies. And this area has videos and resources that parents can use that are aligned with our standards that are being taught for the next 3 weeks of our e-learning platform until April 30th. So parents, if you have any concerns about curriculum or how to do something, please utilize our parent portal that is located on our district webpage. With that being said also, elementary schools have 2 district mandated programs that we implement this year, and they are Dreambox and Lexia Core 5. Our Lexia Core 5 is our ELA format, and we want to make sure that our students are meeting their goals. Our goals are very simple. They need 60 minutes on Lexia Core 5 each week, also a prescribed number of lessons. Those lessons can be communicated to parents by their students or through the teacher. Our Dreambox format is our math program that we use for our elementary students. And again, it's 60 minutes a week and 5 lessons a week for those students. We're doing an excellent job with Dreambox and meeting our goals. And actually, I think every elementary school in the district met their Dreambox goals for last week. So congratulations. We're struggling with Lexia Core 5. And I think that's because we have more lessons that we have to complete in a week. So parents, please make sure you monitor students on Lexia Core 5. Additionally, we are keeping in line with grades and our grading requirements for our students. Interim reports will be mailed for elementary students on April 28th. Again, interim reports will go home next Tuesday in the mail on April 28th. Another one of our formats that we use is Accelerated Reader. And this is our reading program that we use for students, and it gauges a reading range for our students and allow them to take tests. We have had some communication with parents about the time frame that we use Accelerated Reader. Previously, we had Accelerated Reader until 8 p.m. We have now implemented that Accelerated Reader be extended until 10 p.m. each night. And using that same format, we have Mayan, which is our digital resource. Our media specialists have worked really hard to get a video for parents and for students to understand how to use the Mayan program. If you would view that, it will help you and help students understand how to get books that are on their level and how to utilize that platform. Finally, online registration has launched for our kindergarten students. We've received a lot of questions about online registration. Parents, this is one thing that Ms. Cagle communicated with me. If you already have a child in the district, then you have an account for the district. There's no need for you to set up a new account. Use that same email that you've used for the other child. If you're new to our system, there is not a SNAP code for you to utilize for this program. Put in your email address and set up a password. Our online portal implemented last Monday on the 13th. Students in kindergarten must be 5 by September 1st and have an immunization record. There's one little glitch with our system. It is asking for a medical history documentation. If you would bypass that, and all you have to do to bypass that is just click that you will show in person. We're working on getting that glitch corrected for our parent portal.
Is that all?
I think that was a lot. That was a lot of information.
That is a lot of information. That's what tonight's all about, trying to get as much information out to our public. But just a couple of things: Lexia, Dreambox, Mayan, Accelerated Reader, all their books right on the Chromebook on ClassLink right when they open their Chromebook to students. So parents, if you're looking, you don't have to look very far for all those software or any of those opportunities for our students. They're all in one location when they open up their Chromebooks.
Correct.
So that should help. I'm just, tickled pink that everything is working, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the classroom, but our teachers are trying to make this experience as real as they were in the classroom as they can, whether they're offering videos or just doing daily lessons or continuing their lessons. We appreciate that. And then I think the resources that we've provided parents on our website that were done by our content supervisors in conjunction with some of our teachers is just fabulous. I don't know of a district that is offering those resources to parents, videos, reteaching materials, all what they're working on now. So that's a lot of resources for our parents in the elementary and almost into middle school up to 8th grade. So we want to make sure everyone is aware of those resources as well that we will continue to do. So that's a lot of information. Thank you for all of your time. If our viewers don't know, I think Ms. McBride became assistant superintendent maybe a couple of days, and then we entered into this pandemic. So
Yes.
she's enjoying the honeymoon here as her first month as assistant superintendent, but she's been doing a fabulous job. We appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
The next person joining us is another new member of our team that joined us during this opportunity time. Mr. Greg Hall is our new assistant superintendent for the secondary, and he has a few items today to talk about regarding our secondary schools and in particular some of our seniors.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dr. O'Malley, and I echo some of the sentiments already stated before, and I will say since arriving in Florence 1, I've been so impressed with the work of all of the staff, the food service, bus drivers, school staff, keeping the buildings running, the teachers, the school counselors, the mental health providers, school administration, maintenance, continuing the progress and everything that's going on in Florence 1. I've been so impressed in my short time, and I truly believe that Florence 1 is leading the way in South Carolina and continuing and providing the continuity of education and learning for our students. So very thankful to be a part of the family, and I appreciate being here. Thinking forward, already we're at this point that we're trying to make plans. We still do not have final plans for or final information about graduation and whether or not we're returning to school. But we still have you in mind, seniors, for our graduates of 2020. So a few things I want to point out that the district has going for you. The district is purchasing some signs for each senior to honor and recognize them. I believe we have a sample to show you. These signs are going to be tailored for each high school with the student's photo, their name, and their school. We hope to be delivering these around the first part of May, just as a district example of how we're trying to show our appreciation and acknowledging our seniors. Additionally, the district is going to be putting up billboards all across the town, and these billboards are going to acknowledge and congratulate the class of 2020. These will be specific for each school, and they're going to be put throughout the town in our billboards, and we're going to see those graduates of 2020 as well. Each school's final academic award ceremonies are going to be, each school's final academic award ceremonies and recognitions will be done virtually this year because we're still in our social distancing. And so the plans for those are going to be individually run by the schools. Academic awards, scholarship recipients, junior scholars, those are being planned by the school administration and staff, and those dates are as follows. South Florence is still finalizing their end of the year date for school recognition awards, but look for that communication from Ms. Mack via email and their messaging apps for their end of the year date. West Florence's academic achievement ceremony is going to be May 6th. That's going to be streamed live on Facebook, and that will also be a video that can be replayed at another date. And then Wilson High will be on May the 12th, also via Facebook Live, and will also be recorded for access. Each high school is also preparing a senior slideshow. This senior slideshow is going to honor each graduate of 2020 and be specific to the school as well. And we're going to release that slideshow for public view on the seniors' last day of school this year, which is May the 15th. So we want to acknowledge them and give them a farewell and a send-off on that last day on May the 15th. Each school is also preparing to acknowledge their male and female athletes of the year. That is going to be announced by each school within the next week. Wilson is going to acknowledge their senior male athlete and female athlete on this Thursday, April the 23rd. West Florence is going to acknowledge their male and female athlete of the year next Tuesday, April the 28th. And South Florence is going to acknowledge their senior athletes, male and female athletes of the year, on next Wednesday, April the 29th. The district award is still going to proceed. However, it will not be in the former method of having a banquet. Obviously, we're still under quarantine, but we're still going to proceed with having a date to acknowledge that. We're still waiting to hear from the morning news about a time that we're going to solidify that date and provide that recognition and in what method that's going to be done. But that will be done most likely around the same week that the seniors will finish, around the 15th. Some other reminders, AP exams, the schools have been informed and hopefully the students have been informed about AP exams. There's been a shift this year due to our current e-learning status. Those AP exams are going to be done online at home, and they're going to be administered between May 11th and May 22nd. Please be sure you've checked with your teachers at your school to know what the exam window is for your particular subject. Do anticipate that these are going to be quite difficult exams, being at home, being online, and open book. The format will still be quite challenging, and we'll be expecting the students to produce some information at the level expected by the College Board. College Board does also provide some free daily online courses via YouTube to help students review and prepare for the exam. So check out College Board for any of those resources to assist you in preparing. The most up-to-date AP exam information can be found on the AP website as well. Another bit of information for our seniors. Seniors, it is extremely important that you log into your school links and select where you're going. Add that information to where you're going to be going after you graduate high school. That will allow us, once final grades go in for you after your last day on May the 15th, that will allow us to send your transcripts to the location that you have selected. So that's extremely important that you complete that as soon as possible in school links to add that information where you will be going after graduation. Seniors, we also need you to be active in all of your coursework. There are, believe it or not, Dr. O'Malley, there's a lot of seniors that possibly are enrolled in some classes that they do not have to have for graduation. However, it is still affecting their grade point average. And seniors, we want to encourage you to finish strong and take advantage of this opportunity to continue to grow and finish the race. We want you to finish all coursework and be active in that learning, that e-learning every day. And we want you to, even if you don't need that credit, please understand that does affect your final grade point average, and that is extremely important for you. Our school counselors are working extremely hard each and every day, communicating with families, checking in on students, especially checking in with students that have disengaged, whether that be for a couple of days or maybe a series of days. And we don't want anyone to drop through the cracks. We want to be sure that everyone is continuing their learning. And so parents, community, our school counselors and our school staff are reaching out to you on a regular basis if we're seeing your students disengaged. Please help us by being sure that they are staying engaged in that learning every single day. That expectation of 200 minutes for our students across the district still continues, even now that we expect them to be engaged in the learning each and every day. School staff, counselors are reaching out to students when they're disengaged, and like I said, that's a big concern for us. We don't want want any student at all. We don't want any student to finish and drop off and for us to lose them at this point. Rising sixth grade students, our last piece is for rising sixth graders. Look for communication this week coming from your school to select your electives for next year. Once you receive that email, please complete that by this Thursday, April the 23rd. Instructions will be on that form. Parents, you can look for that as well and be able to help your students. But that's a lot of information for us this week since our last meeting, but that's what I have.
I think you're going to need your own show.
I
There's
might.
So much information there. So, but I think that's good. I mean, you had a lot of information about seniors. They're going to get a lawn sign to put on their own at their home to recognize that a senior lives here, and
That's right.
you'll have those all three high schools all across Florence with some billboards, so we can get some recognition for our seniors, which would be really nice. You talked a lot about all the end of the year recognitions that'll be still moving forward, even though they'll be virtual and
Correct.
other means. That's good. A lot of great stuff about AP that they need to be aware of, and then hopefully everybody's aware of our grading policy change, and that came out from all the principals and trickled down from the teachers. So appreciate that's it's a lot of work, and as soon as we get some guidance from the governor about where we're going at the end of the year, then we'll try to put some plans together for what graduation will look like this year. We're going to have something. We don't know what that something is and when that something will happen, but we know we're going to do something, and as soon as they give us our guidance, we'll move forward with that. So welcome to Florence.
Thank you.
And glad to have you, and thanks for providing that information this evening. Next, we have Mr. Denny, Mr. Brian Denny, who is our Assistant Superintendent for Special Education. And again, applause to his department and what he's done as far as leadership. A very difficult thing to do with special ed kids, students, to provide distance learning. But I think Brian's here this evening to give us a little glimpse of what his department, what his teachers and supervisors are doing going on. So again, thank you for all your work. Keep pushing to try to reach our most vulnerable students. But tell us what's happening and what you're doing.
Thank you, Dr. O'Malley. We've really tried to take a business as usual approach since this thing started. We were trying to have IEP meetings, trying to make sure we're having student needs. And so since about our third week, last week we had 143 IEP meetings. After this week, we'll have had over 230. Trying to be innovative and provide therapy sessions over teletherapy. So with that being said, we've had over 100 occupational therapy sessions. We've had over 300 speech therapy sessions over teletherapy, and around 10 or so physical therapy sessions. So it really has been an approach to make sure that we're keeping up with our students. Our resource teachers, our special education teachers are staying in contact with the children either by phone call. They're having meetings with them. We're continuing to have meetings with parents and IEP meetings. So that won't be something that we've forgotten. So when we come back, whenever we come back, that we won't have all those things to continue to do. So we're really trying to take that business as usual approach. Extended school year, again, as Dr. O'Malley said, we're kind of waiting on the governor, but we do have a couple of different scenarios that we're going to go with. There will be an extended school year. Again, what it's going to look like, we don't know, but we know that we're going to do it. And so really just trying to make sure these students are getting their needs met however we can do it, whether it's we had to kind of back off on meeting in person, but now we're doing our teletherapy sessions. So it's been great.
That's amazing. You said there were over 300 speech sessions and 230 IEP meetings?
Correct.
That's amazing, and that's just great work on your department.
Thank you.
If parents want to have an IEP meeting, what's that process? How do they get in touch? Who do they get in touch with?
Right. The best thing to do would be to get in touch with your child's special education teacher via email, and then if you have issues and can't get in touch with them, you can always call our office, 843-673-1161. Again, that number, 843-673-1161. But the best place to start would be with your child's therapist or their special education teacher.
I'm glad you mentioned extended school year. Again, once we finalize what this school year, when it concludes, we are in the process, and I know your department is in the process of putting together some alternative plans for an extended school year and what that would look like.
Right.
So we appreciate all their work. We appreciate the teachers, the therapists, and everyone that are continuing to push the limits to provide services for our students and again, be a leader.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jones always chuckles when I say this, but be a leader in South Carolina for some of these things. So we're moving ahead in all these areas, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you, and appreciate what everyone's doing.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're down to our two end colleagues here. Next, we're going to go to Ms. Maya Buck. She's our Director of Food Services. with Chartwells. And Mayo, you know, we hear a lot about the frontline people, and that's the people that work in food service and our bus drivers who are delivering the food. But I don't think people really understand how large your operation is on a daily basis. So can you kind of just share with us when we talk about food delivery and what that means, everyone? And before you do, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone that is working on our front line, and we can't say it enough, but they really are truly doing service. They put themselves at risk, they put their families at risk every day, and we do appreciate what they're doing. And most importantly, our students and our community appreciate the food that they're serving every day. So thank you before you begin.
Thank you, Dr. O'Malley. I appreciate the opportunity to just speak on the food service program. So as we pretty much know, March 15th, we got the order to shut down our public schools. But March 16th, with the leadership and direction from Dr. O'Malley, we were able to open up, establish 3 meals a day at 19 of our school sites and 21 remote sites in the community. We work with bus transportation, our principals, and some of our community partners to establish which 21 sites remotely based on the community needs, maybe transportation, and then trying to work around parents' work schedules. We selected 21 sites for our buses and our food service employees to roll out into the community and make bags of lunches and dinners and snacks and breakfasts available to all. Since then, again, we started with 19 school sites and 21 remote sites within the community. Our program grew. We started serving 32 remote sites, and then we were able to cut back to 15 school sites. But in our first 3 days of service, we served over 45,000 meals. By the end of the week, our meal count was up to 60,000. So currently we're serving Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So on Monday, any child that comes or any person that comes to any of our sites, any of the buses will receive meals for Monday and Tuesday. Then we serve on Wednesday, and then we serve on Thursday. Thursday, you will get your meals for Thursday and Friday. So again, only 3 days of service, which helps with our staffing. It gives them a break. This period is very full of stress and anxiety, and we don't want our people to become stressful or full of stress, and they're not able to service the community in a manner that upholds our safety standards and our food handling standards. So we do 3 days now. We're currently serving out of 5 schools: Timrod Elementary, North Vista Elementary, McLaurin Elementary, Southside Middle, and Delmay Elementary. But in the community, we're servicing 42 sites for both lunch, where you receive lunch and snack, and dinner, where you receive dinner and breakfast for the next day. Our lunch hours at our schools are from 11:30 to 1:30, and for dinner, they're 3:30 to 5:30. And then on our website, well, Florence School District 1 website, there's a listing of all the community areas that we actually distribute at. The first stop, lunch is available from 11:30 to 12:30, and dinner is available from 3:30 to 4:15. The second stop for a bus, lunch is available from 12:45 to 1:30, and then dinner is available from 4:30 to 5:30. And understand, when you pick up lunch, you receive a snack, and when you pick up dinner, you receive your breakfast for the next morning. We've worked diligently with transportation, and I can't say enough about how transportation has supported us to identify areas within our community that need meals. We've scheduled them. We're there. If you have any questions about a meal pickup site, through our community, we've learned of additional sites, and we've established a route for those locations. If you know of an area that's in need, that meals, maybe they don't have transportation, they can't just get to a bus or to a school site, please pick up the phone, give us a call. Our office number is 843-673-1120, or extension 1122. So again, you can call 843-673-1120 or 1122. I can't say enough about our staff. We are on the front line. We are servicing the community, but I have some individuals that have the biggest hearts possible and wouldn't have it any other way. We, as Chartwells and as Florence School District 1, we've taken our very strict Compass Group Chartwells food handling policies, safety precautions. We've stepped it up a notch. We've taken the suggestions from DHEC and worked really hard to keep our people safe so that when we go out in the community, we're doing it in a safe manner that keeps our community safe and our staff safe. They've been great. Currently, we're serving between 70 to 75,000 meals a week, whether our service is 5 days or 3 days and receiving all 5 meals. Our totals are about 70,000 to 75,000. I appreciate my staff. I appreciate the support of Florence School District 1, the principals, transportation, and all that have come to the table to just help us make sure that we're providing safe, well-nourished meals for our community.
Thank you, Maya. And I think people don't understand how large of an operation that is. Did you say how many?
70,000 to 75,000
70
meals a
to
week.
75,000 meals, and just, how that has just grown over
Yes.
time. 3 meals a day, bus drivers, remote locations, food service people working in our kitchens,
Right.
and people coming to our schools. We appreciate all that work. It's not easy to do that day in, day out. I know we speak several times early in the morning, so
Yes, sir.
we're getting that ready to go. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone that's out there. And I really think that our community needs to know how large of an operation that really is. That happens really every day when we're normally
Every
in
day.
school.
Yes.
Now we just have to do it in a different manner, and how everyone, even before we started this, was
Yes.
able to step up and make this work. While other districts were looking to see how they could do it, we were
Right.
delivering food, we were out in the community, and I think you mentioned that the heart of our workers.
Yes.
You see that they want to do this for the community, and that's why they come to work every day. And I know we've had to scale back for a variety of reasons.
Yes.
And not only for the stress, but also for this virus. But we
Right.
wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of how thankful we are, and how much of an operation the food service is. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you joining us this
Thank
evening.
you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Gaines, it's just you and me, kid. That's all that's left.
It's about time.
It's about time. But, we always save the best for last.
That's right.
And you are looking mighty dapper this evening, I might add. I know, now that I'm alone with you on stage, it becomes more apparent. But Mr. Gaines is our Director of Arts and Innovative Programs, and I think it was important to have him this evening to talk about the arts. Plays a big role in education and what we're about here in Florence School District 1. Can you share with us, now that school's not in session, what's happening with the arts while we're doing e-learning in our virtual schools?
Absolutely. Thanks, Dr. O'Malley. Our arts are continuing to shine in the communities and in our households in Florence One schools. Our visual and performing art teachers are using our Google platforms to engage their students in meaningful lessons and rehearsals. I've had the opportunity to join some of those Google Meets and participate, and it's been very enriching and fulfilling. Also to that end, our music teachers are using Quaver and also Smart Music to, again, provide that standard-based instruction to our students during this time of e-learning. We know that all situations are not ideal for e-learning, but our teachers have gone above and beyond, as my colleagues have shared, to make sure that our students are engaged and enriched. And we were fortunate today to receive a very generous donation from the Florence County Museum. Kim Washburn, who is the curator of education there, her and her team have compiled approximately 5,000 arts kits, and I have them with me this evening. So soon our students will receive a kit that will include some crayons, watercolor palette, a reusable paintbrush, pencil, paper, and they went as far, Dr. O'Malley, to develop some standard-based activities for our students so they can not only engage in something meaningful, but also color outside the lines. So we received half of that shipment today. Approximately 2,500 kits are sitting in our district office. We look forward to receiving the other half later this week once they arrive, and our principals will pick them up on Tuesday, April the 28th, and they will get with their schools and teachers to distribute these items to our students. This project will target our pre-K through third grade students. So we're going to reach about 5,000 students with this generous donation from our Florence County Museum. So we're very grateful for these partnerships. And again, that speaks to why we continue to be named one of the best communities for, I'm not only going to say music education, but I'm going to say arts education. Because as you said, this is our time to shine, and we are definitely shining not only in our community, but our state to provide these optimal experiences for our students during this time.
Could you make mention of that one more time? Best communities for the arts. I think it's 7 years in a row.
7, and the only South Carolina school district to hold this distinction for 7 years. And it goes beyond just what we offer and how many students are in the class, but how we're preparing them to enter the world or enter their art form beyond high school. So our teachers do a great job. I'm very blessed and privileged to serve in this capacity and just be a resource guy and the last man standing tonight.
Save the best for last. And so arts are continuing in this virtual platform. Our students are getting their smart music, and
Yes.
that we instituted probably 2 years ago.
Yes.
And having that opportunity to have lessons and things in their own home.
Absolutely.
Anything else you see maybe in the future that we can help, that you give us a little preview, anything? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but, when
As a
you're good, you're
matter-
good. So I figured, why not?
As a matter of fact, as we receive direction later this week from our governor and state superintendent of education, we will move forward with a definite plan for our Horizons and H2 program, which is our gifted and talented program for our visual arts students. In addition to our music students, we'll probably move to a virtual audition format to be sure we can screen them. But whenever we come back to the school building, we'll be able to provide those services. But we want to be sure that we're identifying all of our students who are gifted artistically and musically during this time of this pandemic. So as we receive those directions from our governor and superintendent, then maybe I can come back on live, or we can push that out on our social media platforms to share with our community how we'll get your students screened and a part of those programs to meet their needs.
I think you and Mr. Hall might have your own show before the end of this. So I think you'll definitely, not only will you be back, but you might have your own show. I don't know if you two of you could be together, but I think you might be separate. But I appreciate all you've done, even before all this, getting our district to move the needle, being innovative with the arts. That's been a big push for us and huge investments, and we'll continue down that road. And I'm glad you were able to share with the community this evening that the arts are still a part of what we're trying to do, and that people understand. Hopefully this evening we've spent about 57 minutes talking about all the wonderful things happening in our district. It's not just putting computers in front of kids and teachers doing e-learning. It's about all those different aspects this evening about what we're trying to do to make the school experience a really valuable one that our students and our community be proud of. So I appreciate you joining us this evening and telling a little bit about the arts. So it is about 57 minutes into this. I like to stick to an hour and stay on time. Just looks like there's just two quick questions. The first one was the AP testing dates. If I'm correct, Mr. Hall, May 11th through the 22nd. There's plenty of information on the AP. They actually should get, I know my student at home gets an email, both my daughters, from what their AP tests are, the dates, the online. It goes through what will be on the test. So there's a lot of information on the AP College Board website, so you can do that. Quite frankly, if they ask their teacher, they can find out, secure the dates and the material that'll be covered. So we'll have that. A second question is, how will seniors receive their yard signs? We believe they'll do it the same way they receive their caps and gowns. There'll be a process that'll be communicated through email by the high school principals, where they'll just pull up and they'll hand them the yard sign just like they were to hand their cap and gown through Jostin. So we'll plan those things, and we should have those hopefully by the early part of the end of this month, early part of May. So when people drive around, not only seeing things on the billboards, but across our neighborhoods in Florence of seniors going throughout, and we'll continue to plan those. I'll pause. Any other questions? They need pictures for the signs? Yeah, we're using the senior pictures or any pictures that we have Otherwise, we'd be getting a lot of pictures from people for that perfect picture, but we shouldn't. We were able to throw up, I think, an image of the sign. I think I'll thank our colleague Haley Cagle, who is not with us tonight, who's been with us in previous episodes, and she was all part of that design. So we do appreciate her hard work and working on that for our seniors. So with that said, 59 minutes, and I hope our governor watches our show, because we are on time and we end on time, and we want to make sure that we continue to provide those services. So we thank you for tuning in. As we said long before it was popular, continue to support our local businesses here. We hope that everything that we're doing here in Florence One is making our community proud, and we continue to thank everyone that's part of this. I thank my colleagues for joining us this evening and everyone on technology to make this possible. Good night, Florence, and have a good week.